On Sunday afternoon, it was announced that former world champion boxer Ricky Hatton had passed away. Even though he'd been very open about his mental health challenges and his battles against the demons of drugs and alcohol, his death came as a shock. He was only 46 years old, and he'd been planning a comeback fight in December this year, more than a decade after his last competitive contest. Tributes poured in from the boxing world, from friends and former opponents alike, from fellow sportsmen, and from celebrities and fans around the world. The outpouring of grief was entirely understandable. Hatton was a popular champion, a brave fighter whose accomplishments far exceeded his capabilities. He was an everyman made good, and he will be greatly missed. A few days before, TV news cameras captured the murder of right wing activist Charlie Kirk. He was a divisive character. To those on the right, he was a leader and a mouthpiece. To those on the left, he was a mortal enemy. To many, he was entirely unknown until his untimely death, which forced him onto the front pages and into even wider public consciousness. It's already clear that he'll be even more divisive and even more influential than he was in life. Whether you're a boxing or sports fan, and regardless of whether your personal politics lean left or right, the names of Ricky Hatton and Charlie Kirk will be instantly familiar. But what are those names that are less familiar, less revered, less celebrated? What of those people whose passing goes unheralded? There are those names we mention from time to time, in reverence but in passing, fleetingly. Mick Collins, Ken Cresswell, Chris Huxtable, and John Shaw, who perished in the Didcot disaster in 2016. John Mackay and Tommy Williams, who died on the Teesworks site in Redcar. But there are countless others, countless nameless others. There are the thousands we lose each year to mesothelioma and asbestos related diseases. There's the 500 or so that take their own lives in the demolition and construction industry each year. There's the 40 or 50 that die in fatal workplace accidents in the demolition and construction industry every single year. What are their names? What are their stories? What impact did they have upon those close to them or upon the wider world? How are their wives and husbands coping now? How are their families? How are their colleagues? Ricky Hatton and Charlie Kirk will remain in the media headlines for days, maybe even weeks. Their passing will cause us all to ponder how a beloved sporting icon can struggle with his mental health, how a young, apparently Christian man can become such a divisive character. But there will be no such discussions around those we've lost within the demolition and construction sector. In many instances, we don't even know their names. The industry news headline reads, "Worker killed on site in London," but they're nameless and faceless. We don't know their background or their circumstances. We send our thoughts and prayers, but in most cases, we don't know where we're sending them or to whom. Until we start saying their names, telling their stories, recognizing the real weight of their loss, we're complicit in their erasure. A life isn't measured by its headline value, but by the people it leaves behind. Ricky Hatton and Charlie Kirk will be remembered. But what of the father who never came home from sight? Surely he deserves more than a passing line in a news bulletin. They deserve to be seen. We cry for celebrities, we rage over politicians, and we debate endlessly those who divide us. But when a demolition or construction worker dies, we move on before we've even learned their name. If that doesn't shame us, it should. Until the nameless and faceless are given the dignity of memory, every thought and prayer we offer is nothing more than a hollow token. Fame and notoriety grant a kind of immortality. Their stories are told, retold, and dissected. But in demolition and construction, too many vanish without a trace, their lives reduced to statistics and safety reports. And perhaps the measure of a society is not how long and how loudly it mourns its icons, but how quietly and how quickly it forgets its workers.